Hello, my friends in film fandom. How the hell are you tonight? Wherever you may be and however you may be watching, thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Plenty of stuff to go into tonight. Again, more fallout from the DC stuff, not as much as you might think, but we're starting to look forward to what's going on. A big trailer that I was really anticipating coming out, and of course the legal nonsense that tends to plague the industry and Hollywood and whatnot is also going to be on tap tonight. And here to talk about that with me are very good friends. Jeremy is for the night, so there will not be here tonight. We hope he's feeling better, so he will be back next week to go over all the stuff with you. But tonight, no Jeremy. I'm actually kind of bummed, too, because I know he was really wanting to talk about this Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. But I'm sure Jeremy will have plenty to say about that as we move on into the future. But tonight, the ones we do have are my usual co-hosts, like the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm sitting in a sunny hut overlooking the beach. So hot and humid. You know, I just can't deal.
What is that? What? Is that an early Christmas present, Corey? That's just for you. That's crazy. Oh, how'd that come out? That's crazy.
You know,
Wow.
I'm 30 degrees warmer than where it is where Tex is. You know, that's great.
When I go postal, I'm coming to your house.
Negative
Fair
11
warning.
to negative 20 where I am, with the wind chill down
Keep
to 40
it
to
up.
50, negative 40 to 50. But I'm in denial. So there you go.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. But I'm in the Midwest, where it generally gets a little cooler in the winter, and I'm actually one of the people in this call. I'm having the nicest weather. I'm 42 degrees with rain, although we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. But yeah, I'm the one with the nicest weather, which is kind of funny. But also, my good friend, the Shape from the Lone Star State, one of our horror aficionados, is our man Tex. What's going on, brother?
Well, see, Cora, joke's on you, because 6 days from now, it's going to be 70 degrees. So you can suck on that. But either way,
28 in 6 days.
No, doing well. Trying not to die in 14-degree weather. So if I freeze to death, mourn me. So yeah, no, it's doing well. Been doing a little investigating on the movie news, trying to cover bases, because I knew Jeremy wouldn't be here tonight. So hopefully I'm I can fill in somewhat for the gaming stuff that I know he knows so much about. So
it'll be great.
I'll do my best. So
yeah.
Yeah, Mikkel Cloud getting us started up in the chat saying, "Happy Christmas, Happy Holidays." What's going on? What's going on?
No. We ain't doing that.
Happy Christmas, motherfucker.
No. This is Merry Christmas. If you say Happy Christmas, you're a communist.
It's whatever.
Okay? You just need to get out of here.
You're not. They stand in Europe all the time. It's common. It's old-fashioned.
Europe. Didn't we beat them in a war, so we didn't have to say that anymore?
Actually, we joined them in a war.
A couple times,
against tyranny. But,
here we're decent folk.
All I know is all this. All I know is this right here that I did for you guys today, kind of spur of the moment, because I had an extra on. And
I love it.
This is all the decorating I ever do for Christmas. Jennifer does the tree. Jennifer does all the whatever she hangs in the wall. Jennifer does all that. I don't do any Christmas decorations at all. I did this because I was like, whatever. I'll throw something festive up for the holiday. But this is as far as I go for Christmas decorations and stuff like this. I don't go any further than that.
I like it. It's very.
I say we get
Festivus.
How are you, Frank? Have you had a good week,
I'm
Frank?
fine. Just work. Busy. I'm trying to get through the year again. This whole like fall and winter thing got really messed up with our sudden move that we had to make. But I mean, we're getting settled in, and now we're starting to get to the point where we're starting to plan farther out in the future rather than just like getting through the holidays and doing all that stuff. So hopefully we'll be a little more settled in come first of the year. There are some things coming from. I'm still wanting to try to get together the spring. Actually, get with 9 in the last couple months. I've been so busy. I haven't been able to plan it the way I want, but there's something in the spring I want to do that I got to get with Night Watch about. We are still working on the merch. Jeremy convinced me to do merch. I was talking with Nick from Lost River Drive-In. He said, whatever, it doesn't cost you any money. You may as well try it just to do it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I've been talking to that. That'll probably be going live sometime in the first of the year. So you guys will be able to buy some Harsh Truth t-shirts and whatever. But yeah, there's some things coming from the channel that I'm working on.
Can there be a special shirt for Casey? This is I'm Hard.
To me, and hopefully it'll get better.
I was actually just talking to Night Watch the other day. I was watching. He did over on the Night Watch Zone. He did a sin review of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and as y'all know, Rob Zombie's Halloween is my favorite, so I had to jump in there with both feet. I was kind of touching base with him. He's a good dude. I like him. I like his channel, so he covers cool stuff over there. So he's a cool dude.
He's great.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, he's got really good content. But
if Cora does get a shirt, though, it needs to be the squirrel logo. I will offer that. If Cora gets an exclusive shirt, there needs to be a squirrel with a shiny object on it. So we need that.
Only if you wear one that says Texas is not the best.
There you go. There's another one.
we get good weather year out in California too. We can surf there too. So that's where we got you guys. But anyway, let's get started on tonight's topics. Lady Cora, what's the first thing we'll be going into tonight?
Well, the first full-length trailer for Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer hit the internet last week. It gives us our best look yet at Cillian Murphy as the man that would become the destroyer of worlds. The upcoming movie will follow the life of well-known American physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, otherwise known as the father of the atomic bomb, charting the role he played in the Manhattan Project. A historic initiative, the Manhattan Project was a top-secret government research and development undertaking during World War II that ultimately led to the creation of the first nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer hits theaters July 21st, 2023. Frank, are you excited at the first look at Oppenheimer?
Yeah, this kind of leads into a quick programming note. Next week, we're going to be talking about our favorite movies of 2022. The first show of 2023 is going to be us talking about the biggest upcoming movies of the year that we're going to be looking forward to. And spoiler alert, this is on my list, probably near the top. I've always been really fascinated by the life of Oppenheimer, not just the Manhattan Project, but so many people from that era of American history, especially when it came to dealing with the government. They had such weird backstories outside of what they accomplished. I mean, look at guys like him. You look at guys like Werner von Braun and people like that. There are such intricate stories that surround these people that happen away from what they're known
Howard
for.
Hughes
that
is
they are
one
very
too.
worth. Howard Hughes is one. They're very, but he's gotten plenty of movies made about him. These stories are very, very interesting to hear about. And Oppenheimer was such this weird mercurial figure anyway. It seems odd that nobody's really done a deep dive on the guy up until now. I mean, they've made movies about the Manhattan Project. They've done plenty of documentaries for sure, but nobody's ever really tried to put on celluloid a great performance inspired by this very strange person who did this very crazy thing that it has impacted human history to such an effect. Mm-hmm. And it's Christopher Nolan, who is just damn good. He's one of the great filmmakers of the last 30 or 40 years. So I'm really, really stoked about this. Like I said, that period of history, of world history, has just always been fascinating to me. And I'm really interested to really dig deep in all this. And to top it all off, I mean, the number of people that are in this movie, it's ridiculous. It's got Matt Damon is playing Leslie Groves. Robert Downey Jr. is playing one of the politicians of the era. I forget who. Emma Blunt is in it playing On Life. It's like this movie is just super interesting, but it's loaded, flat out loaded with great talent. And there's so many reasons to think that this movie is going to be Oscar level good. It's going to be nominated at some point, not this coming Oscars, but probably the next one for a lot of awards. Loaded with talent, a great, interesting story that it's going to be awesome to watch. Great director. I mean, there's so much work. I'm not too jacked up about it because I don't want to set myself up for a letdown. But at the same time, it's hard not to because this thing just looks so awesome. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I saw it, and I was excited about it. It looked good. Like, I want to see it.
Yeah, I watched the trailer twice. I watched it when it came out, but I didn't really give it time of day. I was like, oh, okay, it's another, movie. I didn't really, I don't know. I guess it caught me at a bad time. But then, Frank, like you said, that time period of history is very fascinating with World War II, Nazi stuff, the space program, all of the conspiracy stuff that was born in that era. It's a very fascinating time. So, and of course, the movie looks great. I mean, if you look at the trailer, it's very good looking film. Everything you said there, Frank, from the stars to the direction to everything else. Excuse me. I think this is going to be, I don't know the whole summer movie slate, but this may be the one that tops them all. And, this not counting anything Marvel or DC, whatever, but I think this has got the ability to do really well. And I'm actually interested to go see it. Normally, I'm not into movies like this, but the way this one looks with Christopher Nolan and everything else, I'm really interested to see this film. So it looks good. If y'all haven't watched the trailer, go check it out. We all know what happened with the device that he created. So I just hope I really hope they kind of not go heavy on the conspiracy side, but there's a lot that they could just drop in there. And one of those things, if you pick up on it kind of things. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to do stuff like that with. So I really hope they do something of the sort, because this probably Oscar worthy, maybe best picture, best director, best something. This is one of those kind of films that win those awards. So, I mean, with Cillian Murphy leading it, I mean, the dude was great as Scarecrow in the Batman films. 28 Days Later is one of the best zombie movies of all time. So, they've got Iron Man, they've got everybody else in it. So it's going to do well, I think, like I said.
Nice. I watched the trailer,
Cora, what do you?
I took away from it that it screamed Oscar buzz with the cinematography, the music, the pacing, and the I don't know, just felt like Oscar quality, top tier edited and produced movie. On top of having a fantastic story, I feel like it's really gonna get some attention.
I agree.
Really, I mean, the first look that we got at this movie, 6 months ago or so, the kind of short thing they put out just really showed a picture of Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer and had a little bit of voiceover, and that was kind of it. That was enough to kind of get me hooked. But now this full trailer, being able to see it kind of in full form is to kind of get an idea of what the general feel for the movie is going to be. It makes me that much more excited about it. I'm really on board for this. Like I said, it's a really interesting point in human history. It was the atomic bomb, the nuclear age being birthed. It was hopefully they focus a lot on Oppenheimer's view of what he did afterwards, because he, like so many other people who worked on the Manhattan Project and similar projects like it that dealt with the beginnings of the atomic age, the nuclear age, the nuclear arms race, a lot of those guys kind of regretted ever doing it at all. And that's what their view of him saying that famous quote, "I have become the destroyer of worlds." He thought that there was this good thing that he was doing, but ended up being so conflicted at the end of his life afterwards, because realizing, especially after we used the atomic weapons in Japan and in World War II, understanding exactly what those things, the destructive power of those things, not because you can only tell so much by blowing up a desert in Nevada a couple hundred times. When you actually see the effects of it in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it's a very different thing. And I think at that point, that's one of the things I'd like to explore, is kind of how he felt afterwards, not just the ingenuity that led to the development of the technology, but how the technology was used moving forward after he handed it all off to the government to let them do what they were going to do with it. And then, of course, it eventually falls in the hands of other countries, and then we end up in places like the Cuban Missile Crisis and so on and so on. So I mean, there was good and bad that came from it all, and I'm hoping that they focus on that and kind of how it affected Oppenheimer towards the end. I don't want this just to be a Manhattan Project. They made that movie before. I've seen that movie. It's called Manhattan Project. It's got Paul Newman in it. He plays Leslie Gross. So, I mean, I want to focus on a bigger picture of the whole thing. And how
you want an autobiographical film, not necessarily a historical recount, right?
Well, not just of the Manhattan Project. I want it to be a bit broader scoped. I want it to be a bigger picture, a larger mosaic of him, not just for the Manhattan Project, but kind of how he became the man that would become this scientist that gave us this technology. How understanding what the technology would be afterwards, after he was done, he had played his part and moved on the rest of his life, understanding what it all had led to, that it could potentially lead to the deaths of millions of people if not used right. And I'm sure that there's a part of him, like, even as like nuclear energy was becoming a thing, it's like, yeah, I'm glad that we could get this from it. At the same time, we can kill people with it. At the same time, not handle in like to a Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island or something terrible happening. It's like anything nuclear is such a complex issue that it'd be interesting to see how all these things kind of affected him, because I know it affected him, from what I've read, it affected him a lot later in his life, and he had a lot of really mixed emotions about the good and the bad that came from all of his research and all of his work. So I'm hoping that they give that the proper attention. I don't need the entire movie to be about it, but I want them to give that the proper attention, because I do think that's a big part of who Oppenheimer was, especially in the latter stages of his life. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Like, even when you watch the trailer, when you look at Cillian Murphy especially from the beginning to the end of the trailer, you see him at different ages. Look at the rank. There's more gray in the hair, or there's wrinkles in the face, or there's whatever. So I think you're gonna get a lot of that in this film. Now, how many years they cover, we don't know yet, but I do think you're going to see that progression, because I doubt that they would make this movie and not tell the backside of what he did, because, like you said, that was maybe even more important than making of the actual, bomb and everything else. So, like I said, I mean, like Cora and I both said, I think this is going to be a big Oscar movie. And, for Cillian Murphy and Christopher Nolan, who knows? I mean, it could be multiples, but movies like this are ones that win awards, and they tend to leave a pretty good impact with it. So I think it'll do well. It's visually amazing. So
it looks like it was cast well also. So I think that's going to be.
Yeah, you've got Robert Downey Jr., Cillian Murphy. Who else was in this movie? Did you say, Frank? I couldn't remember.
Christopher Nolan's directing it.
General
Matt Damon. That's who it was. Yeah, Matt Damon. Yeah.
Emily Blunt is playing Oppenheimer's wife. I mean, so you've already got a ton of Oscar level talent.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
I think this would be cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested in seeing how this movie performs. I mean, I honestly, I don't even need another trailer at this point. I mean, we pretty much know, like, anybody who's ever done like freshman history knows about Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project and all that. But
yes.
I mean, just what we got from this trailer is enough for me. I mean, I don't need the plot explained anymore. I don't need to see any of the effects, even though I've heard that they didn't use as much CGI as a lot of people wanted. I know they tried to recreate some of the nuclear blast with practical effects. Obviously, they're not setting off nuclear bombs in the desert again to try to get footage of it, but they did use practical effects. Yeah, I don't think the government would like that too much. Like, hey, you got some old nuclear around that you want to explode so we can get it on IMAX? But they did use a lot of practical effects to try to explode it. They were going to be using for the film. I'm interested to see how that goes, because Nolan's one of the guys that likes to push some of the practical effects past the limits that we know. And that's something I'm interested in seeing in this movie as well, is how is he going to approach giving us the explosions without CGI, or without doctoring up old footage from the 50s and trying to colorize it all and kind of making it look a little like not cheap, but I mean, like it's obviously been, just explosions we've always seen, just put through a different filter so they're a little cleaner. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this movie goes. Like I said, I don't even need another trailer. I'm ready to go. I'm totally on board with this. There's too much talent, too much of a talent. The director, obviously, a very interesting situation. I think it's going to be a pretty kick-ass. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of the trailer for Oppenheimer. Did it affect your interest level? Did it increase it? To me, it did, and I'm ready to go see this movie. It comes out in June, I believe. But before we move on to our next topic, I just want you guys, we're getting close to 500 subscribers. We get there. Pet project. Now, what do we want to do for the pet project? Getting closer and closer every day to just being done with the pandemic, with COVID, and all the people that went and got these companion pets during the pandemic. As soon as we started to get out of it and started to get back into our regular lives, a lot of these pets were abandoned. They were sent back to shelters because the people just didn't want them anymore. And a lot of these animals are suffering with health problems and stuff like that and finding homes. What the Abandoned Pet Project does is they get these animals out of the shelters, a lot of times only hours before they're supposed to be euthanized and put to sleep. They nurse them back to health. They help them find either foster homes or forever homes. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make the first charity that we worked with to be the Abandoned Pet Project, because it's something that I believe in. I'm probably getting a dog at some point in the next year. So I'm letting the women in my house slowly talk me into it. So that's what we're going to do once we have hundreds of this. We're a charity stream where one of the proceeds are going to go to the Abandoned Pet Project to help everything that they are doing. If you're a fan of Matt Carricker, Demolition Ranch, Vet Ranch, you know all about this project. It's something I believe that he started. It works mostly in Texas, but I mean it's a charity worth being a part of. So we're going to do that one first. And remember, every 500 subscribers we get will be a new charity stream where all the money goes to that charity. So get us up to 500 subscribers. Right now we are at 427. So we need another 74, 73 subscribers to get there. So spread the word about the channel, like it, help push us up the algorithms, subscribe, share it to your friends. We would very much appreciate it so that we can help out a lot of charities, starting with the Abandoned Pet Project. Now, Lady Cora, what's the next topic we'll be going into tonight?
Something I know nothing about, and I'm either intrigued or terrified. Mathew Lillard and Josh Hutcherson are set for Blumhouse's feature take on the popular video game Five Nights at Freddy's. Launched by Scott Cawthon in 2014, the original Five Nights at Freddy's video game centered on a hapless security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he learned that all of the restaurant's animatronics have minds of their own, and he must use all of his wits and tools at his disposal to survive until the end of his shift. Hutcherson will be playing security guard Mike Schmidt, while Lillard is reportedly playing the main villain William Afton. Tex, what are your thoughts on the impending Five Nights at Freddy's movie?
This is okay, Corey. This is a movie you're gonna love. Basically, it's a haunted Chuck E. Cheese with animatronics inhabited by spirits of dead children. I know that's like your favorite kind of movie, right? So this you're just gonna love this.
But they kill people?
Well, they die in different ways, but basically there's you've been to it. Hang on. So you've been to a Chuck E. Cheese, correct? Or you've at least seen the inside of one.
I had a couple birthdays there that are fond memories.
Okay, so they have the animatronic band on stage.
Creepy as fuck when you look at it later, but you love it when you're a kid. Especially the one with the purple feathers on her head. Oh boy.
Right. Imagine that, but horrified for a children's video game. Basically, this is a whole world that Blumhouse can go into. They have multiple video games. There's comic books. There's back lore. There's tons of stuff. I think the story starts in 1983. It's either 83 or 87. I can't remember. But basically, it's these animatronics that are inhabited by dead spirits of children, and people die, and they have there's so much here that this can be really good for Blumhouse, and Blumhouse needs a win after Halloween trilogy that they put out. God, that was horrible with Halloween Ends. So Blumhouse needs a recovery here, and this is something that Blumhouse can sink their teeth into because they're like there's 5 or 6 video games. There's a ton of the comics.
Oh, so it's going to be a series of movies potentially, not just a one-off.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is a universe. This, assuming it does well, they can play with. I know the big main years: 1983, 87, and 95. So this is kind of a time period piece kind of thing. Like I said, I don't know
Gremlins time period, basically.
Right. So I mean, obviously, Chuck E. Cheese kind of had its time, back then more than now. You don't see as many nowadays. But there's a lot they can do with this. And they've casted Mathew Lillard, Stu from Scream, one of the original killers. This dude is awesome. He's one of my favorite people in horror. And I hope they make him I want as much of him in this movie as I can get. He played Shaggy in the live action Scooby-Doo films. He's done a lot of cool things. So they have a lot going for them. Now, Josh Hutcherson, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was in the Frozen movies, correct? Didn't he voice that?
He was in the Hunger Games.
Or was he Hunger Games? Okay, I'm thinking of a different dude.
Yeah, he was the blonde guy in Hunger Games. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, they've got star power here. And
yeah.
Blumhouse has a lot.
He's very cute, and a lot of girls had mad crushes on him after the Hunger Game movies.
Well, there we go. I mean, assuming he doesn't get killed and put inside one of the robots, you'll get to look at him when you watch the movie.
What do you mean put inside one of the robots? They put humans in a robot?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The animatronics. If you're killed by one of these robots, your spirit goes into them, and you become basically the enemy here. So
what happens to the one that was in it before?
Like I said, Jeremy would know more about this than I do. Jeremy and Alan know a ton about this. So I'm like the C-list guy when it comes to talking about this stuff.
But you're thirsty for it. It sounds like you're really into it and excited for it.
It can be fun if it's done right. I hope it's done. I don't want this like a Rob Zombie type of film, but I want like that Madhouse feeling. I want like an injection of like Pee-wee's Playhouse mixed with Chuck E. Cheese. I think is the right mix for this movie.
Got it.
Because it's not something that you need to take seriously. It's not something that you need to, oh, well, this is a guy that put on a mask and he's got a knife and he's going to come kill everybody. It's animatronic demons, basically, is what we're dealing with.
Got it.
So this is going to be more of a creepy movie than a scary, I think. But depending what it's rated, if you want to cut it for teens, that's going to have a lot to do with it.
Would you take this? Would you take your kids to see this? Is it?
Oh, my kids will love it. I take my kids to the big Scream slashers like Scream and Halloween and stuff. Mm-hmm. This would be no big deal. I mean, one of them's watching Walking Dead right now, so this is no big deal for us.
And I can't imagine it would be much worse than Walking Dead as far as the visuals are concerned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it'll be cool. I'm excited for it, though. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am not overly educated on the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. My
I'm not either. I know minimal.
Five Nights at Freddy's. And I know that Jeremy, just as we've talked about this in him casual conversation, has gotten kind of excited about it. But I've already had kind of an introduction to this. There was a movie that Jeremy and Rachel came over and watched at my place one night called the Banana Splits movie. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, Tex.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Somebody got it for me on Blu-ray. Yeah, somebody got it for me on Blu-ray in like a Christmas gift exchange thing a couple of years ago. And so I was like, oh, what is it? I'll watch it. And then Jeremy and Rachel came over. I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and throw it in. Somebody got it for me on Blu-ray. And it was entertaining. It wasn't like great. And I have a feeling that it's going to be kind of the same thing. For those of you who don't know, the Banana Splits movie is essentially kind of the same thing. The basic plot of the movie is there's this animatronic TV show with animatronic animals that has been on since like the 50s or 60s. It's about to get canceled, and the guy who builds the animatronic things for the show is apparently a mad scientist. And he gave them some kind of AI, and they found out they're getting canceled, so they go on some murder spree and they start murdering the producer and blah blah blah. And of course, some kids that are there get trapped inside the set, and all hell breaks loose and so on. And as this Five Nights at Freddy's has been described to me, it's it's kind of the same feel. It's almost identical to the same thing. It's almost like this Banana Splits thing was kind of a spoof of Five Nights at Freddy's in a way. Or just some kind of like heavily inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's. So if I'm going to get something like that, part of me is kind of interested, but the other part of me is like, I don't. It's not because my horror is stuff like the Michael Myers, the Jason
same here,
Freddy Krueger, things like that. Leatherface. That's the horror that I watch. Some of those different subgenres of horrors just have never really done it for me. I like the cerebral horror. I like the like psychological stuff is good. But I feel like if it's going to be like that it's going to be a little, I don't want to say low budget because low budget could be good for horror, but it's going to be a little too half-assed.
Well, but if it's being made by Blumhouse, it's not going to have a huge
there's a lot
budget.
of potential. But yeah, budget doesn't necessarily look, and I've said it 100 times. For horror, low budget tends to work really, really well. If you have great kills and like a killer that you can kind of not get behind, but I mean at least kind of root for in a way, and some people that you kind of don't want them to die, but you're glad when they do. I mean that's kind of all you need for a good straight up slasher. And if that's what this is going to be, great. But I don't know if just going straight up slasher is going to work. Not for this particular property.
Well,
I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about Five Nights at Freddy's, so I don't know what would actually work for that particular setting and that backdrop. So I'll have to research a little more before I get too excited or want to poo-poo it too much. But I don't know. There's potential here. I'm not going to lie.
The one thing that does give this hope that it can be done well, and I'm not a fan of this show or really even the character much, but that's the Chucky TV show that's been on TV the last couple of years. And realistically, you can use the same kind of technology, the animatronics mixed with CGI, whatever you do, to produce something like these animatronic bears or whatever the creature is that they're going to show in the film. So they don't necessarily have to come up with a lot of this technology that already exists. And Blumhouse is, becoming the mecca of horror studios, even though I'm not like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of them myself. I tend to like other studios a little bit more, but this is the right place for it to be. And, if they can get it for a good budget, they've got good talent for on screen. Like I said, with Mathew there, whether he's in human form or he's in robot form, the dude is talented. So this isn't my particular horror either. I'm with you, Frank. I like the slasher stuff. Could be a zombie thing. That's kind of where I stay. But this is something I'd be willing to check out. So I think Cora needs to go see it and give us her own review of children being killed by robots. I think that'd be fun.
You mean children killing children because they're children's spirits in the robots?
Well, children's spirit robots, whatever. However you need to slice it. However you want to do it. However you want to do it. Yeah. You do you. Just, make sure you go see it all by yourself at nighttime. Preferably like after you drove by like a school or something.
Well, in my tiny town, half the time when I go to see a movie by myself, I'm the only one in the theater anyways. So it's twice.
Oh, even better.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
Maybe we could do a live review after you walk out of the theater so you can give us your first reactions. That'd be cool. So
maybe.
Something like that.
You never know.
Yeah, but talk about this because I know this is something that he's been really, really into seeing. This is something he's been really excited for, and I'm sure there's going to be more talk about this in the lead up to the release of the movie, and I'm sure there's going to be a review coming as well. But I don't know. I'm interested. I'm not over the moon because I'm not educated on the lore the way that like Tech seems to be, and the way that I know Jeremy is, and I also Brooding Gamer is also really excited about this too. We were going back and forth on Twitter earlier about it.
Yeah,
but, I'm interested.
We need those two here to talk about that. We need them to for sure.
Yeah, this has got a lot of potential. So I mean, I could get behind this. I think. But go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Mathew Lillard and Josh Hutcherson are set to star in Blumhouse's feature take on the popular video game Five at Freddy's. Go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. You like the casting? Are you guys Five Nights at Freddy's fans? Are you excited for the movie? Sometimes movies don't look because we're talking about a movie based on a video game. Touchy track record here. So, but again, this is not like we're diving deep into story. It's essentially just horror. And if we just stick to the horror part of it, I don't think the video game stigma is going to stick to this thing the way the video game movie stigma has stuck to other things. Potential here, but go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Lady Cora, what's the next role we talk about tonight?
Well, the handsome Henry Cavill may not be donning a red cape, but he does have a cool new gig. The actor who on Wednesday officially hung up his Man of Steel costume is attached to star and exclusively direct a series adapted of Warhammer 40,000, the popular science fiction fantasy miniature war game that is set up at Amazon. No writers or showrunners are attached. Vertigo Entertainment's Roy Lee and Natalie Viscuso teamed with Cavill to secure the rights and deliver them to Amazon. Vertigo will executive produce with Cavill and GAW's Andy Smiley and Max Bottrill, along with Amazon Studios. Tex, what do you think of Cavill's new gig with Amazon?
Well, I mean, to start off, Henry Cavill shouldn't need a new gig. He should, as John Campea said, he should have an S on his chest right now, not doing something else, but make Henry Cavill Superman again. Get that hashtag going. James Gunn, you're an idiot. If James Gunn keeps Zachary Levi and Gal Gadot, but it fires Henry Cavill, screw you, James Gunn. But either way, that's a whole different topic. So the war game, the Warhammer 40K, this is a pretty big deal. Like I was kind of new to this, but once again we were having a conversation about it, and then I got to digging into it and whatever. This is a game. This is a board game, tabletop game, whatever. That's been around since like 1986 or 87. There's a lot behind this, and obviously Henry Cavill deserves a win. I mean, he did the Witcher thing that didn't work out for whatever reason. He comes back to DC for a month to, be screwed around again. So this is a universe that it looks like pretty much Amazon's like, hey, come over here. We'll give you whatever you want. And it's just like Jeremy had said in the, chat we have there. Henry Cavill's a big nerd. He's all about this. And I mean, Henry Cavill has shown that if he's invested in a project, look at what he did for Superman. I mean, the dude built like Superman, standing next to the suit. He didn't need the padded muscles in the suit to look like Superman. So what do you think he's going to do for this project? He jumps in with both feet when he's invested in something like this. And, I don't know. Does Amazon release films in the theater, or would this go right to Prime? That's the one thing I didn't know.
I think this is actually going to be a series.
Is it a series? Is it a movie?
Yeah, it's a series.
It's a series. Okay, well, so that's what I thought. I didn't know because, I mean, Henry Cavill's a movie star. He needs to be on the big screen. I mean, that's where somebody like that deserves. So hopefully this comes to fruition because, I mean, from the way it sounds in that article, they haven't even secured the rights to this yet. So
no, they have.
Who's saying? They have secured it.
Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill and a couple other people secured them and literally brought them to Amazon and basically said, we'll sell it to you if you let us do the work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, well,
yeah.
This, from what I looked into, there's space marines, there's aliens, there's all kinds of creatures. There's a lot of material here that Henry Cavill could play with. And, this is something right up his alley. Obviously, if he can't be Superman, he's got to do something else. And I'm still holding out hope that somewhere down the line, somehow we see him back with an S on his chest. But
it might be on OnlyFans, but it could.
I'm not going to OnlyFans to see that, Corey. You can do that for us. Actually, you know what? You go do that in your own time. I don't even need a report from you of how it was. You just enjoyed that yourself.
I wasn't going to say anything. I just made a silly joke and you ran with it. So, it's all good.
Well, it's a joke because this is what we do right here. But no, it's Amazon, if they're producing it, they've got like all the money these days. They've got more money than God.
Well, didn't they buy up something? So. I forget because they bought whatever has Stargate. The rights to Stargate.
Oh.
I forget not Warner Brothers.
No, it's not Warner, no.
Because I'm a big Stargate fan, and I was trying to find something about them, find out if they're going to do anything else with it. And basically, Amazon has the rights, but they don't plan on doing anything with it.
Well, I mean, okay, didn't Amazon produce that new Lord of the Rings?
They did,
TV
and I refused
show?
To watch it because it's.
Yeah.
They spent so much money on it, and they said they go broke if they didn't do well with it, and they lied about the views.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if they spent that much money on that god-awful show, surely they'll invest a good chunk of money into something like this. With Henry Cavill set to star, there's no way it fails. You know what I mean? I mean, just outcry. I mean, I'm going to watch it just because Cavill's in it. You know? That's what I'm saying. They've got Superman. You know, people are going to check it out just for that. All of the hardcore Snyder fans are going to go check it out just as a screw you to Warner Brothers and James Gunn. But you know, I don't know. I'll check it out. I think it looks pretty cool. You know, obviously we haven't seen anything, but the idea of it, it's, you know, it can be Halo-esque. I mean, depending on which characters and direction they want to go. So,
yeah,
this is going to be a series on Amazon. Yeah, this is actually going to be a series on Amazon. It says that no writers or showrunners have been attached, but Vertigo Entertainment is going to be basically running the production stuff. So, I mean, I would imagine that Henry Cavill is going to have a big big part of the creative stuff as well. But
you would think so.
I don't know. I'm not overly familiar with the game, other than the fact that it would exist. Minus has limits, and Warhammer was always kind of a little past that limit for me. But look, I mean, theatrically, there's a lot of themes here and everything that I think could be really, really fun to work with, especially if you have someone who's super passionate about the project, like Henry Cavill, and whoever else they may end up bringing in. And we have no idea. It's becoming one by one, actors and actresses and people in Hollywood are getting exposed as being kind of big nerds because nerd culture has become so prominent in Hollywood over the years. But so you could see some pretty big names still yet to get attached to this. I mean, we still don't know who's going to be directing it. It could be big name directors. I mean, so there's still a lot to come from this. The potential, though, is awesome because there is and just I'll put this picture back up there again real quick just so we can look. There is a theatrical element to this kind of stuff. I mean, to those big kind of monsters and orcs and mechanized kind of gladiators. It looks great on the screen, especially the big screen. I know this is going to be Amazon, but I mean, who's to say they won't try to make some movie? I mean, after they get done with the first season, which is going to be, let's say, 10 episodes. I don't know yet, but let's say 10 episodes, and it does well. Maybe they decide to go ahead and do something theatrical and release something as a film. I mean, do you really think that Henry Cavill wouldn't want to get back on camera and in front of on the silver screen doing something like this? I think he'd love it. But there's a lot of elements here that are very theatrical and very grand that I think would do very, very well. I mean, look, we're all attracted to some of this big epic stuff. And that's one of the things that Hollywood's been missing lately is the big epic stories outside of Marvel. There hasn't really been a lot of the big epic stories. It's like, we had the last trilogy of the Star Wars movies, but you know, a lot of people weren't really big on this trilogy. Outside of that, there's nothing really big in scope other than Marvel that you can really get behind. And maybe this is going to be the next big thing, the next big thing that people get behind. There's a lot of potential here. And you've got Henry Cavill, obviously very passionate about the project. You've got the people at Amazon who's obviously got the money behind making a great spectacle. That right now, the stars are lining up to be kind of awesome. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I think that Henry Cavill, Cora, no matter what Cora, project he did next.
Thoughts on this?
Sorry.
What are your thoughts on this, Cora? Frank's glitching out really bad right now.
I was just going to say, whatever project Henry Cavill would have done next after all the media coverage of him, leaving The Witcher, not doing Superman, was going to get attention no matter what. So they're going to do great no matter what just because of his name, I think. So I think that will carry them.
True.
So True. The fandom will want some of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, Cavill himself is going to be a huge draw to this thing. So,
and I think it'll be good for his career, honestly, to do some of the behind the scenes with executive producing, because with the amount of experience he has, I think he might be good at that, and maybe he'll like doing that and prefer it a little, maybe not be in front of the camera as much, but still have a fulfilling career. So.
Now, Cora, how upset would you be if Henry Cavill stopped being on camera? Would that upset you? Would that make you sad?
I only really like him as Superman. When he's in anything else, it's.
So you're telling me if you saw Henry Cavill,
it's the hair.
If you saw Henry Cavill in a James Bond suit, that wouldn't just wet your whistle. That wouldn't do it for you.
No.
I'm calling bullcrap on that, but I'll let you slide. It's okay. So hey, you do what you got to do.
I think he'd make a dope ass James Bond.
He's the perfect guy for it. I'm not even a James Bond fan, and I know that's the guy for the role. It's nobody else. It's just give it to Cavill. There's no way. I mean, he's
in British.
Well, as I'm saying, he's British. He's an action star. That's really all you need. He's a solid choice. I mean, people are wanting Idris Elba. No, that's not James Bond.
That's not all. That's not all you need for Bond.
No, that's not. That's out. He's too old.
I
think Idris Elba would be an amazing Bond, but
the next Bond is going to be a Latino girl, unfortunately.
No, the Broccoli's already said no. The Broccoli's already said no to that.
Could we possibly get like a transsexual Eskimo to play James Bond? Because that would be really progressive.
No, I know a dog. A dog in a tux. There we go.
A dog that identifies as an emu wearing a tux. That's who's the next James Bond.
There we go.
But I don't know. But seriously, no. With this Warhammer thing, like I said, it's not a big property because it's like even Jeremy had said in our private chat, this is some like deep nerd stuff. This is not like, popular trending kind of things, but this is something that attached to Henry Cavill can be brought up to a pop culture level. He can elevate this thing. So, if this is the project that he's gotten, I'll check it out. I mean, if not for anything, but to support Cavill's in this thing. So, I'm all about it. I'm down. Let's watch this thing.
I think he'll do great things with this.
Yeah, I'm interested in what's going to come of this. I mean, and again, Ammonia, just like they did the whole Lord of the Rings show. You've got Cavill involved, creative teams there. There's a lot to like about this. But again, I want to see a trailer. I want to get a taste of this thing to see what it's like. But it's got a ton of potential. So,
would you be disappointed if he doesn't act in it?
Comments will let us know what.
Do what?
I was just gonna say, would you be disappointed if he didn't act in a primary role? And he just
how would he not act in it? That'd be the stupidest decision to not star him in the middle of it.
It just depends on what he wants to do, but who knows?
Well, I don't really know anything about the characters, so I can't jump right out and say he would make a great this character, he would make a great that character. I can't come right out and say like off the top of my head and say I think he would play this role because I don't know any of the characters. I don't really know much about the story other than the game or anything other than that it exists, and I knew people when I was a kid that played it, but I mean, I don't really have any idea what the lore behind the storyline is. So to be able to point out one or two different characters and say Henry Cavill should play those, I just don't know. I mean, so I would imagine that he wouldn't have gotten involved in this just at a producer level or at a creative level. I feel like he got into this because he wants to be on camera playing a significant role, the way that he was playing a significant role in another nerdy project that he wanted to get started and finally did in The Witcher. So
maybe
I would imagine he's doing this for a reason
himself, and he's really crazed about it.
Well, yeah, he did.
Okay.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Jeremy's not kidding when he says he's an uber nerd. I mean, he's done videos on his Instagram of him building his own gaming PC, and it's like it's every girl's wet dream. He's sitting there like in some tight wife beater with all his muscles all oiled up, putting a fucking computer together, talking about D&D stuff. And it's like,
hang on, Frank, watch out! Every girl's if you say too much, Cora's gonna go off. Watch out now. Watch what you say about the oil and muscles and everything else. Cora can't handle that. So watch out now.
I'm allergic to that.
Well, hey, her camera's not on. She's on Instagram right now on her phone like Henry Cavill.
No, I'm
not. Sure. She's like, no, I followed Henry Cavill years ago. I already know. But
I didn't even know he had Instagram.
There's a lot to like about this so far. Again, I don't know too much of the background of this thing, of this story, but there's a lot here to get into just from a creative standpoint. So I'm interested to see where this thing goes from here. Again, it'll probably be another 2 years or so before we really see this come to fruition. So I say slow roll it, make sure you do it right. There's a lot here to like. So, just make sure you're taking your time doing it the right way. Don't rush into things the way that maybe I think DC did ultimately under Hamada and all that stuff and kind of ruin Henry Cavill in a role that he may have been born to play. So be careful. Just do it right. That's the important thing.
just like, I mean, I even tweeted this clip out yesterday or the day before. Just like John Campea has said, if DC doesn't hard reboot, but James Gunn decides to keep this and that piece, but he did not keep Cavill, we've got some questions because that's the stupidest decision he could have made. We finally get back the Superman. Oh, no, we don't need you anymore. Just go away. So don't screw this up, DC. You've got this is big.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, they're going to screw it up.
I got a feeling they probably will. I'm just trying to give them warning.
I think they already did. Yeah. It might be savable.
I'm not worried about it. But yeah,
I hope so.
Go down in the comments and let us know what. Go down in the comments and let us know what you guys think. Henry Cavill's next big move, since he's no longer going to be involved in the DCEU. Well, he's not a Superman, but that's a whole other thing. Is going to be Warhammer 40K, the uber nerdy, uber D&D like game. So let us know in the comments below what you guys think of his involvement in that. That's what we're going into tonight.
Indeed.
Next topic, Cora.
Oh, sorry, Frank cut out. Well, sorry. Tex, you might be able to make a lot of money just by watching movies. Just listen to this next thing here. Movie studios can be sued under false advertising laws if they release deceptive movie trailers. A federal judge ruled on Tuesday. U.S. District Judge Stephen Wilson issued a ruling in a case involving Yesterday, the 2019 film about a world without the Beatles. Two Ana de Armas fans filed a lawsuit in January only to discover that she was alleging that they had rented the movie after seeing her in the trailer only to discover that she was cut out of the final film. Universal sought to throw out the lawsuit, arguing that the movie trailers are entitled to broad protection under the First Amendment. The studio's lawyer argued that a trailer is an artistic, expressive work that tells a 3-minute story conveying the theme of the movie and should thus be considered non-commercial speech. Frank, what do you think of the ongoing legal situation? Or are we all going to get rich here because we're going to watch some new trailer and we're all going to sue together?
Is this a class action lawsuit we can all jump in and get a piece of? How does this thing work?
Well, that's definitely something that people are worried about, but I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves with some of this. I know that when you read the headline in Variety, it says Ana de Armas fans lawsuit puts studios at risk over deceptive trailers. That's putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit. Basically, what has happened is they haven't won this $5 million judgment yet. We're not that far yet. Basically, what this judge, Stephen Wilson, said in U.S. District Court was that the lawsuit can go forward. That's what they've said. Now, what happened was these people filed the lawsuit. Universal was saying this lawsuit should be thrown out right now because trailers have certain protections under the Fifth Amendment, the Constitution, as whatever, blah blah blah. They made their argument, and all the judge said was that the lawsuit can continue. It can move forward. They didn't say that Universal necessarily has done anything wrong. They didn't say that these people are doing money. They didn't say anything like that. All they said was this can move forward to discovery and where's it at here? To discovery and whatever. I don't know, whatever the legal terms are. But yeah, that's all that this particular ruling right here means, is that this particular lawsuit can move forward. That said, this of the laundry list of things that I have been wrong about in life, I remember saying, 6 or 8 months ago when we talked about this, that I thought this was just some frivolous bullshit lawsuit that was probably going to get tossed out the moment a judge got their hands on it. I was wrong. I really didn't see it making it even this far. But, and I still don't see this lawsuit amounting to anything. I think it's ridiculous. I think that because for the history of movie trailers, there has been some deception in the trailers for various reasons. It's understood as a film fan that you're going to go to a movie, you're going to see a trailer, and that maybe they're not going to display like M. Night Shyamalan movies. It's like they don't put in the trailer that Bruce Willis's character is actually dead. That's the big plot. That's the big plot point. That's the big shock. You can't just put that in there. There's a little bit you have to hold back and even deceive the audience from. Your movie has the effect on viewers the way that you want it to have it. And I think that ultimately that's going to win the day. But let's say that this actually does go through for a minute. This is going to greatly affect, if it actually goes through, it's going to greatly affect the way that motion picture companies market movies. It's going to have billions of dollars in effect on like trailer houses. I mean, there are trailer houses in Hollywood, LA, really all over the country, all over the world. That's what they do for a living. That is their business, is they get footage from these production companies. They cut together a trailer for release to make these commercials. It's going to greatly affect those companies. It's going to affect thousands of workers. It's going to affect billions of dollars in advertising spending that these production companies put into marketing. It's going to greatly affect the quality of trailers that we see. It's going to greatly affect the number of trailers that we see. I mean, we're not there yet. But yeah, they're sweating a lot in Hollywood over this right now. And look, I understand. It's like the trailer is only really supposed to do one thing, what John Campea says. It's supposed to take your existing level of excitement for a film and ratchet it up a little bit. That's what a trailer is supposed to do. If you're kind of excited for a film, you see a trailer, it makes you more excited. That's what that's supposed to do. It's not supposed to tell you exactly everything about the movie. It's not supposed to tell you even exactly who's in the movie. Really, that's not what the trailers are for. So so to that effect, I don't really see it. And for two, look, this really is just a frivolous lawsuit. It's just somebody's just being a dick because
they got some lawyer decided he wanted to get famous off this.
Oh, yeah. So, some lawyers like, you know what? I know I'm not going to make any real money off this. We're not going to get the $5 million. But
I might get
people in Hollywood are
going
to notice me. People are going to notice me. I'm in the clients because I was that guy who took this to suit. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get these other clients that probably wouldn't have come to me. I don't know. I mean, Tex, frivolous lawsuit. Is there something here? What do you think?
Yes, frivolous lawsuit. Somebody trying to get attention. Probably some ambulance chasing attorney trying to get his name famous. Everything y'all just said, I completely agree. But that being said, trailers suck these days. I mean, either you watch a trailer and you see the whole movie, or you watch it and you don't even see the movie. They show you footage that they shot specifically for the trailer that you'll never see again. I mean, Scream is one of the worst offenders of that. But, you know, it's to the point now where obviously we live in the internet age, right? You can know everything about a film before it ever comes out. I miss the days of, there's a new Batman movie coming out. Here's the poster on the newest movie news, publication that came out this month at the newsstand, and that's all we knew back in the day. But now it's different. Now we get 3 trailers and we get all of this stuff. They have Twitter pages for every single thing. But I miss the days of going back to not knowing before we went. The days of, I want to watch a movie. What do you want to see? I don't know. So you go to Blockbuster and you just walk the aisles looking at poster art. Now movie trailers, you see everything. More often than not, they show you the ending of the film. You just don't even realize.
Not only that, new movie trailers show you the scenes in the trailer before they start the trailer. Right. And then they show you the trailer like, wait, you just showed that scene. I don't understand that.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. I never understand why the people who make the movies don't make the trailer. Why do we need trailer houses to specifically do this? That seems like that was it. Well, I understand it's a business thing, but you would think it's not going to affect the money either way of how much money the movie makes. If you like the trailer, whether it's cut by the studio house or the producer of the film, either way, you're going to go see it. It's just, one of the worst offenders recently, like I said, Scream 5. You saw the whole film in that trailer. You saw who the killers were and everything else. Halloween 2018. They took every one of the kill scenes and put it in that trailer and just took all of the good stuff out of it. There are so many things, and especially if it's a film that has any kind of suspense or who is the killer or how do these people die, they show it to you to try to entice you to get the casual fan to go to the theater. That's all these are for. That's all anybody does. So it sucks with what movie trailers are today. Obviously, I'm the type that I can't stay away from spoilers. If there's a movie I know that's coming out that I like and I want to see, and I know there is credible sources of information on the internet, I'm gonna find it out as soon as I know that it's out there. The night before the Scream 6 trailer dropped, it was let's see, I forget who I was watching on YouTube. It wasn't Not Watch Zone. It was somebody. Oh, it was Craven Something Scary. I know the YouTube channel that's all horror based. Mm-hmm. And somebody had put in the comments, "Oh, hey, information about the Scream trailer's out. Don't post spoilers in here." What do you think the first thing I did was? I went and I sought that information out because I can't stop myself. Now, some people have the willpower and can do that, but movie trailers have gotten out of hand. We get 3 2-minute trailers and a minute and a half teaser. Now, as far as the lawsuit goes, yeah, that's nonsense. That's some ambulance chaser trying to get famous at the cost of a studio. That's all that is.
Or he's the uncle to one of the girls who rented it and heard them bitching about it. Said,
they'll get no money. The guy will be famous for 10 whole minutes, and then we'll forget who his name ever was. And movie studios will keep on doing their thing because guess what? They have more money than this attorney does. So they're going to win because that's how the legal system works these days. So I'd just like to know how they got the $5 million assessment of damages for this. Like, did they just randomly pick a number?
Rent the movie.
Right. Like, how did you get $5 million?
It might have been a percentage of the sales or something. Who knows? The box office.
Well, a lot of times they will pick a number, like, because I know a couple of lawyers, and they've told me that, like, in all lawsuits, they will pick some outrageous number with the understanding and the assumption that it's going to get negotiated.
Yeah, it's going to get knocked down. Yeah.
So now the problem here, though, is a lot of times is not the money, because let's face it, $5 million for one of these movie companies is not a lot of money.
No,
I mean they spent $5 million for 30 seconds of a commercial at Super Bowl. They don't give a shit about the $5 million. The problem here is going to be the precedent. So because then the question becomes, well, if we can sue this company because this one character who wasn't even important in the story is in the trailer, and then they ended up cutting them from the movie, cutting the role completely, which happens a lot in Hollywood, way more than anybody realizes. I mean, I can give you some pretty significant examples of that, but if that's what it's going to be, then what else can we get sued for? I mean, because we've talked a couple of times about the Avengers Infinity War trailers that show the gang of Avengers running through the Wakandan jungle, getting ready to fight Thanos and all his guys. Hulk is in the background of that, but that's not the shot that we get in the movie. In the movie, it's actually Banner and the Hulkbuster suit, but they didn't want to give that away. There's been a lot of other things. I mean, you can go back to like Spider-Man and Civil War, the Civil War trailer for Captain America: Civil War. Spider-Man, that trailer, but Spider-Man's in the movie. Is that lying because you're omitting it? That's the problem. Is what else are you going to be able to get sued for? Because you want to be able to put these scenes or images into the trailer as to get people excited and want to come see your movie and buy tickets. But you don't want to give away major plot points. You don't want to give away the appearance of a character whose appearance you're trying to hold on to. You're trying to save it for when the movie actually opens. You don't want to give some of these things away. You want to hold those cards close to the vest until the movie hits theaters on opening day. And you can't, it's going to be a lot harder to do that if this lawsuit actually goes through, because then I could go back to like 1982 and be like, oh yeah, well, when I was, 6-7 years old and E.T. came out, this scene was in the trailer because I just watched it on YouTube and that scene wasn't in the movie when I went back and watched it. I'm suing you for lying to me, for false information, for false advertising, because of a trailer that you put out, 412 years ago, where one scene was different in this movie. I mean, we talked about the Scream 6 trailer the other day. That I've already heard that the way that scene is in the trailer on the train is not exactly the way that we're going to get that scene in the movie. That it was edited very differently. So is that going to be something you can sue over? because I kind of liked what I saw visually, but if I get it in a different visual way in the movie, is that false advertising?
If you look at that Scream 6 trailer, Mindy, the girl that gets pushed against the wall, her clothing changes within that trailer. And people are even theorizing that all of those characters are not even in that same car to give credence to what you said, which I've actually heard the same things about. You know, they kind of played fast and loose with timeline and credibility of events in that trailer. I've even heard the infamous dream scene, but it can be anything. So, you know, because let's not forget, when it comes to Scream, they create like 4 or 5 copies of the official script and leak it out. So, you know, it can go a multitude of ways depending on what information leaks or whatever. So, you know, obviously, you know, this case will go nowhere. No judge is going to award this because, like you just said, if we can start suing for, you know, oh, you didn't show me, I knew, you know, in that, what was the newest Spider-Man, No Way Home, where you see clearly there's supposed to be 3 Spider-Men, but they deleted 2 of them from the scene because Sandman gets kicked in the head magically out of nowhere or some nonsense. You know, there's multiple pieces of evidence that they want to show you, but they don't want to show you. They want to give you just enough to keep you interested and get you in the theater. Then after that, you know, it doesn't matter. But this will go nowhere. This is a publicity stunt at best. Now, it's a very interesting publicity stunt, and it's worth following. But, you know, they're not going to get no $5 million. No way.
Yeah, like even if they win, they will lose on appeal.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're not getting paid on this deal.
But here's the problem: is I don't think they would appeal, because even if the lawyer did take this case just to get his name out there, an appeal is going to cost that much more money for the lawyer, and I don't think that he's going to want to put that much more money into it. I think he wants to get his 5 minutes of fame. He wants to get his name out there, and then he wants. No,
I'm saying if they win, the studios would appeal it, and I think they would win, and these people end up losing.
Yeah, I don't see this thing actually going through still, but I mean, whatever. Again, I don't want people to panic over this, but I mean, you have to start, the fact that it's gotten this far, you have to kind of think ahead and entertain the fact that if this does go into the place that none of us think it'll go, none of us want it to go, the kind of impact that it could have on the industry as a whole. And it's $5 million for them, but it's billions of dollars. Thousands of jobs that are affected for the industry. So that's honestly, I think that probably plays into the $5 million that they asked for, because they asked for 100, 125, 200 million. That's when you might get a lot more pushback from the production company. But $5 million, that's, like I said, that's pocket change for them. They spend that much on a commercial for Super Bowl once a year. So they might just be looking. I don't think they really care about Ana de Armas not being in the movie. I think they probably saw a way for somebody to negotiate down to $100,000 so they get some cash out of this and walk away.
Got it.
But then again, why we need tort reform, folks? Reform against frivolous lawsuits, because this is the kind of crap that mucks up the legal system. There's so many other things out there that are happening right now. You got this one dude with the fucking whatever the hell FTA. I don't even know what the hell's going on with all that. This Friedman guy who's doing whatever. You've got Ghislaine Maxwell still has the names of a million powerful people that were banging 15-year-old girls. It's like, are we really concentrating on this? It's like, why are we giving so much attention to this bullshit? I was like, it's a movie trailer. It's just so dumb.
But to be fair, look at how much attention the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case got. It got so much case that they made a stupid Tubi movie out of it, and everybody, including us, talked about it for months on end. Because
I watched the whole thing, every minute of the trial, because it was such entertaining ridiculousness. It was better than a soap opera. It was better than a miniseries. It was fucking hilarious.
But the difference with that, though, is like that really, ultimately, in the end, is wrapped up as so many people got into it. It doesn't affect the industry as a whole. It only really affects the 2 people. Whatever the effects may be, it only really affects them. It doesn't stop Disney from making Pirates of the Caribbean movies. It doesn't cost 1,000 people that in this one part of the entertainment industry to lose their jobs. It doesn't affect the way that billions of dollars in advertising are spent. It doesn't affect anything outside of those 2 people. Now, while it's a story, sure, but if all hell would have broken loose even more than it did in that particular case, it would have affected the industry as a whole. This has the ramifications to close these trailer houses. I mean, whether you think they're needed or not, I mean, those are thousands of jobs. I mean, those are thousands of people that don't have work anymore. Billions of dollars that are spent on advertising. All the editors all the in-house editing they do of movie trailers into production companies, those guys are getting less work. So there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost wages for these guys. Yeah, they're going to edit other stuff, but I mean, there's other jobs they have to find. I mean, in Hollywood, remember, it's very weird to work in Hollywood because when you get done with the movie, you're technically unemployed. So you go from one job to another pretty regularly. Staying employed is a very big deal in Hollywood. Even if you're an actor, I mean, yeah, sure, you work on an Avengers movie for 6 months while you're filming, and then after you're done filming, you're out of a job. You're technically unemployed. Wow. I mean, yeah, you have a lot more money than you or me. So when they lose their job, they go to, Boca Raton for 6 months to relax. But I mean, they lose insurance benefits. They lose all this stuff. I mean, yeah, you have some stuff through SAG, but it's like, but when you're working for a production company on an active set, you are an active employee who's getting higher health benefits and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it affects billions of dollars and thousands of people. That's what this can affect. I personally think that the reason why they went for $5 million instead of way more money is because they just want to payday. They want to get a couple $100,000. Lawyers going to keep 50 or 100 grand. They're going to get 100 grand, and everybody's going to walk away with a few bucks in their pocket. But I think there's a bigger thing here. That's why if I were the movie studio, I would fight this tooth and nail. I would spend $20 million on lawyers just to avoid paying this $5 million just to make a point. That to me is money well spent. Because again, the precedent is a dangerous one if it doesn't go the right way.
Obviously artistic freedom would be the argument, would it not? I mean, it's like they even said, a trailer's a 3-minute movie. So, I mean, obviously, like, which was it, the Thor Ragnarok, where they showed the scene where he had the eyes on, were full of lightning or whatever, but in the actual movie, he's got the missing eyeball. They showed Thanos in one of the Infinity War trailers, I think, where they showed the glove, but it didn't have the stones, but in the movie it actually did. So I think this is probably going to get thrown out just based off of artistic freedom in and of itself. So, how much money the studio spends fighting this, 20 million or, 100 million, whatever. Either way, I think they're going to win. And, I just wish they would stop revealing so much in trailers because, why go see the movie? And that's what a lot of people do. And ultimately, I think movies make less money when, some trailers show you the whole film. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, coming from this judge himself, he was quoted as saying in his decision, Universal is correct that trailers involve some creativity and editorial discretion, but this creativity does not outweigh the commercial nature of the trailer, which I don't entirely agree with. At its core, a trailer is an advertisement designed to sell a movie by providing customers with a preview of the movie. In their briefing on the issue, Universal's lawyers argued that movie trailers have long included clips that do not appear in the finished film. They cited Jurassic Park, another Universal film, which had a trailer comprised entirely of footage that is not in the movie. So Universal also argued, saying that classifying trailers as commercial speech could open the door to a parade of lawsuits from dissatisfied filmgoers who could make a subjective claim that a film did not live up to the expectations created by the trailer. So I could go watch the next Black Adam movie, which isn't getting made. I can go watch Black Adam and be like, oh my God, the trailers were great, but this movie sucked. I'm suing them because I didn't like the movie as much as I liked the trailer. I mean, how many times have I said that there's been absolute trailers out there that are absolutely fucking awesome, but the movies themselves are terrible?
Right. Well, that's like if you pay your $10 to go see a movie at the theater, you can't walk out once it's over and demand your money back because it sucked. That's not how it works. You paid your money, you got your movie. Whether you like it or not, it is not the important thing, and nobody cares. That's your opinion. Go forth with it. But, this will go nowhere. Just because the judge said that they can continue with the suit, he may have done that just to get it off of his desk for all we know. He may have thought this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen and just pass it all down the line. I mean, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I think it's dumb. Let's see. The judge wrote, continued on saying, the court's holding is limited to representations as to whether an actress or scene is in the movie and nothing else. The judge wrote, holding that based in the yesterday trailer was plausible that viewers would expect de Armas to have a significant role in the film. Well, you can't say that. I mean, because if you look at the trailer for Silence of the Lambs, you expect that Anthony Hopkins has a significant role in the film, but he's only in the film for like 8 minutes. He's got a significant role. His role's important, but if you're going to look at screen time, he's only in the film for 8 minutes, right. 8 or 11. I forget what the number is. It's less than 15, I know. But because he's in like a 2-minute trailer, I'm supposed to believe. Look, I mean, there's lots of things that happen in a lot of trailers that aren't significant to the movie that are a significant part of the trailer. I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day. Most of the Black Adam trailers, all of the stuff you see in the movie happens in the first 25 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Is that misrepresentative of what the movie is ultimately? I mean, because they're not, and that's the way. And Marvel does that a lot. You'll come to find out that a lot of what they put in the trailers is stuff from the first 25 minutes of the movie. They very rarely put some of the big shots in to the trailers that come in the last half hour in the third act. I mean, they do here and there. I know Black Panther Black Panther Wakanda Forever had a couple of shots in it, obviously. A couple here and there. But for the most part, the vast majority of the stuff they give you in the trailers is all from the first act of the movie. But it's significant. Is it significant to the movie? Is it lying because you didn't show me equal parts? Like in a 3-minute trailer, you didn't take a minute from the first act, a minute from the second act, and a minute from the third act to give me a basic mosaic of what this entire movie is going to be. That's my problem with this. Is it kind of opens the door to a lot of generalizations and a lot of people's opinion rather than actual law, or actual fact. But
that begs the question of, I mean, that's the whole thing is. Do we need 3 trailers for each movie? Hang on.
Well, the 3 trailers. I mean, do we need any trailers? I mean, that's kind of. Do we need them? It's hard to determine what's needed. I mean, look, we're not paying for the trailers. They're paying to produce them and give them to us. So the reality is we don't need anything. I'm one of the people for a long time has just been saying, release some of these movies, release them out of trailer. The next Star Wars movie comes out, don't put a trailer out for it at all. Just put out a press release saying Star Wars, the blobbity blah is releasing on June 10th of 2025. That's it. That's all the warning you're going to get. No trailers, no bullshit. Just release the movie and see how it does. I'm all for trying to do that, especially on some of these bigger budget movies, the Marvel, the DC, the whatever, all this stuff. I'm all for trying that. But you got to understand, they want to look, because trailers are not for. They're not for the fans like us that go see movies 3 or 4 or 5 times a month. Trailers are for the casual fans. So, right. Do we need a promo every 5 minutes during a football game for the next football game coming up? Do we need the 12 promos in Monday Night Football for next week's Monday Night Football game, or for the big game on Thursday? Or do we need 3 months of build up for a Super Bowl? We all know it's coming. The only thing we don't really know ahead of time is which 2 teams are going to be in it. But we know it's there. We know where it's going to be 2 years. But
but they use the trailer as a means to promote it, is to get. And so with social media, especially in YouTube, and everything's video, not text anymore. I don't think they'll ever get rid of the trailers because of that.
Well, movie trailers themselves are a huge part of being a cinephile. I mean, John Campion did a whole damn documentary about movie trailers and why we love them. That's what he named his documentary: movie trailers and why we love them. Movie trailers themselves are kind of an art form. So, I mean, do you disparage one kind of an art form? Because do you disparage this much of the Mona Lisa because you don't like the fact that her eyebrows don't line up right? I mean, how do you correlate?
No, I get what you're saying. I just feel like we're very spoiled these days for content. We get tons of it these days, but it just seems like we get too much in these trailers. And obviously, when we first see the trailer, we don't know what the ending of a movie is going to be, if they're showing it, or if this is from the first 2 minutes. We have no idea. But, and like I said, I mean, I even brought up earlier, the trailers are for the casuals, like y'all just said. But there's got to be a way that they can meet in the middle here. They still have their trailers. They still do their thing. Honestly, I kind of wish they would lie to me in a trailer, to kind of wrap back to this lawsuit. So that way, when I get to the theater to see Scream 6, I may not see, what I watched a trailer 2 months ago. I talked about it the whole time. But when I got to the theater to see the actual film, it was something totally different. You know what I mean? So I guess there's ways of doing it. And obviously it's different in every sort, but it's, like I said, this is an interesting debate and an interesting topic. But ultimately, this lawsuit and all this nonsense will go nowhere, I don't think. So, I don't know. Waste of whoever this attorney is. I hope he didn't pay too much for that degree he got in law. He probably got it online somewhere, looking for a little clout here. But good luck to him. He's going to need it.
Yeah, all this comes because Ana de Armas was originally intended to appear as a potential love interest for the film's protagonist, played by Himesh Patel. Patel's character was to have met her on the set of James Corden's talk show, where Patel would serenade her with the Beatles song Something. Richard Curtis, the screenwriter, explained that de Armas was cut because test audiences didn't like the idea of Patel's character straying from his primary love interest, played by Lily James, who played Rose on Downton Abbey, by the way. You'll know that was Cora. The plaintiffs are Connor Wolf of Maryland and Peter Michael Rosa of San Diego County, California. Each paid $3.99 to rent yesterday on Amazon Prime. They are seeking at least $5 million as representatives of a class action of movie customers. The case will now proceed to discovery and a motion for class certification. So, like I said, let's not call this a big loss yet, but as much as I think this should have just went ahead and got thrown out now, the judge is probably kind of covering his own ass. I mean, a part of it is probably just the judge is like, well, I don't want to block them from going through this because I don't want to be the dick who gets all the bad press as a judge for shooting down this thing. I'm just going to pass the ball off to somebody else. I'm going to pass this hot potato to somebody else, let him make the final call. Him, her, them, whatever. Yeah. Let the next judge do it. I don't see this going anywhere. I really don't.
I don't either.
Again, this is something that's been happening in Hollywood since the very first movie trailer started coming out, like in the 30s. I don't see this going anywhere. And to top it off, again, you can't dictate creativity through legal means. I don't understand how you do that. And with so much writing on it here, with billions of dollars in marketing, with thousands of jobs, I don't see it. I don't see them allowing this to go through. I think the ramifications to $5 million is way more than just them getting paid. And I think it's stupid. I mean, look, for those of you who don't understand, where this stems from is that they do test screenings of movies before they come out. And so sometimes if you're walking past the theater in Los Angeles or something like that, you might have somebody walk up to you and say, hey, I'm so-and-so for Universal. We're getting ready to show this movie in here. Do you want to come watch it for free? Just come watch it. And if you want to go watch the movie, sometimes you get shocked. Mm-hmm. You'll be surprised to find it like it's the next big Marvel or whatever. A lot of times it's usually one of the smaller independent films, but it's like sometimes you'll walk in there and it's like, hey, it's the new Spider-Man movie that nobody's going to see for 3 or 4 more months. And you get a chance to go see this. Obviously, you have to sign like NDAs so you don't go spilling any of the beans. Right. But what they do is they'll take you in there and then they'll give you these little cards. Or maybe even they'll have some producers, maybe even a couple of actors there. I actually think that for when they did the screening of Black Adam, a test screening in LA, I think Dwayne Johnson was actually one of these. And they'll give you these cards to fill out, and they will say, what did you like? What did you not like? Maybe the producers will like step up in front of you and say, okay, and they'll point people out and say, hey, what did you like? What did you think of this scene here? And they'll try to use that to arrange reshoots. Work on figure out how they want the final edit of the movie to be, whatever. And so what happened was they did a bunch of these test screenings, and predominantly people said, I don't like the fact that he strayed from his love interest in the movie. That was kind of a shitty thing, which is part of a rom-com. I mean, I wouldn't have been bummed at seeing it, but I mean, it's part of this kind of movie. But they said, well, if this many people don't like it, we want to make sure we put out a movie that people like. We're going to go ahead and eliminate this part of the film that people, by and large, don't like to make our product more appealing.
Then why didn't they change the trailer?
Maybe the trailers were already out.
Oh.
The trailer could have been because it's not unheard of. Yeah, I mean, if the trailer was being cut by somebody else, they could have been making the film and the trailer simultaneously and it could have been produced by completely different people at the same time.
And a lot of times, a trailer will drop before they've even finished principal photography of the movie.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is dumb. I think it's dumb.
It's definitely dumb. Yeah.
I look forward to coming on here one of these days and talking about how this lawsuit's just been thrown out, because I just think it's dumb. I don't think it's necessary, but whatever. It's probably gonna end up getting thrown out at some point. But like I said, I mean, it's this $5 million. I mean, these people throwing a fit. I don't know if they even realize the kind of ramifications it could have on the industry as a whole if they were to win.
I don't think they care.
I don't think they care either. I think they just want to get paid. That's why part of me just wants them to kind of like just throw them a couple $100,000. Tell them to fuck off. It's like, because but at the same time, spend $200 million fighting this thing just on principle. If I had the money, I would.
They should countersue, because their lawsuit is not what they expected it to be either. Just go as frivolous as possible if you're the defense here.
I want to
just go completely.
That's
what I'm saying.
I want to walk into work and be like, "Excuse me, but this item that you said I should buy didn't live up to its thing. I'm going to sue you for $5 million." Wink, wink. And they're like, "All right, I get it."
Right. But it's the whole. People will sue over anything.
Nobody dox these people. I don't really want to do that. I'm not promoting doxing or anything, but still, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like I want them to feel the stupidity of what they're doing right now, the way that we all logical people feel the stupidity.
This is, for me, this is kind of equivalent to suing Pepsi because it doesn't taste like Coke. You know what I mean? This is kind of one of those kind of things.
What a really great analogy. I really like that.
Well, that's kind of how it feels, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's not like we just spent the last 2 years locked down, not being able to do anything. We decided to waste our time by suing over movie trailers. I mean, go find a hobby. Go work at a homeless shelter. You go volunteer your time. Do anything else.
I forget who it was earlier. Who brought the McDonald's thing? Was it Derek? Yeah, I think Derek.
Someone in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, the McDonald's coffee thing. A lot of people don't realize the reason why McDonald's lost that, and maybe there's a comparison to be made here. The reason why McDonald's lost that lawsuit is not because the chick didn't know that coffee was hot. It's because there was actually a maintenance issue. I've learned about this all my years managing restaurants. I've been given the lowdown on what exactly happened here. The machine that they used to heat the water was malfunctioning because it wasn't properly maintained. That's why they lost. Because they didn't handle maintenance procedures.
Well,
it wasn't because coffee hot she didn't know. It's because there was something that was in their control that they didn't take care of appropriately. So instead of the water being 100 and whatever degrees, it ended up heating up to like 180 degrees. So why she won that case was she spilled the coffee on her, and that the pattern of injuries was as such that it was greatly increased because of the faulty maintenance on the thing that heats up the water for the coffee, not because she didn't know coffee was hot. That's kind of a misconception. But the reason why I think that's an interesting thing to bring up is because that's something that actually is in control of the company that ended up paying. Like, there is a standard set. They didn't meet that standard. Water was way higher temperature, so that affected the outcome. So her just spilling coffee on herself and not knowing that coffee was hot. I mean, if you're just reading the headline, I understand why you think that. But when you research into it, you find there's a real reason. The thing about this is there's no real reason. It's like we know why they cut trailers the way they cut them. We know why they don't put things in, do put things in. I've said it 100 times. They shoot scenes sometimes during principal photography that are shot specifically for the trailer, not for the film. Because they want to give you an idea what the movie's about without giving you some key plot points, some key characters, some key spoilers, things like this. They want you to see that as a whole in context of the whole film, not to know because think about it. If you go to see The Sixth Sense, if you go watch the trailer, and at the end of the trailer you find out that Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen a 25-year-old movie.
If you haven't seen him at this point, it's on you.
Yeah, if you see that in the context of the movie for the first time, it hits differently. But if you go in there already knowing, then that moment of the movie is going to come up and it's not going to hit the same. It affects how you perceive the product. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just think this whole thing's dumb. I want it to go away. I look forward to coming out here one day and saying, hey, the world is all right, everybody. This whole thing's been thrown out, and we don't have to worry about movie trailers being drastically fucked up for the rest of our lives.
Watch them screw around. How funny would it be for them to screw around and end up winning $5 million over something that they paid nothing to watch?
No.
Like, how funny would that be?
They paid $3.99.
That's what I'm saying. They paid $3.99 and got a $5 million lottery ticket. Just, I mean, it's not going to happen. But how funny would that be if it was? I mean, we are living in bizarro clown world, and if that were to happen, I mean, who knows? We'll see. But throw it out and move on. And like I said, go work at a homeless shelter. Do something valuable with your time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Do you agree with the people that are filing the suit, or do you think that the movie trailers are what they should be? Do you think it's a dumb lawsuit? I don't know. Go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. And to be absolutely honest, I really wanted to watch yesterday. I heard the movie itself wasn't as great as a lot of people wanted it to be. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I just, I haven't gotten it.
I haven't seen it.
I think maybe just for research, I need to go ahead and sit down and watch this movie just to make sure. But anyway, go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think of the lawsuit for yesterday actually moving forward to discovery stage. I don't think it's going to go any further than this. But Lady Cora, what's the final thing we'll be talking about tonight?
Well, we spoke of him earlier, and I've been quiet because I've been ogling him on Instagram. But heartbreak is still setting in for millions of fans over the fact that Henry Cavill will no longer be playing the role of Superman. But while the Snyder version of the Kryptonian hero may be ending, we know for a fact that the character will be on the big screen again sooner rather than later. Attention is already turning to other actors that could potentially assume the role. Frank, what do you think some of the names... what are some of the names you feel could be contenders to wear the cape in new DCU?
First off, one of the things that I can't ignore is who the hell are John Hyams Newton and Jared Christopher? Never saw these iterations of Superman. Never heard of them until I pulled this
in. One of those is from the Superboy TV show.
Oh, that's probably why.
The other one, I have no clue.
Those have to be some shitty TV versions.
I'm kind of upset that technically Ben Affleck played Superman. What was that movie that it was in? I forget what it was. It was a non-superhero film, but Ben Affleck technically wore the cape and the S. But that's a fun fact of the day.
Well, he was better off as Batman. But
that is true. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that could. Now, one of the things I remember is they said that they're going for, James Gunn said this. He said they're going for a younger version of Superman, but not Smallville. So younger Clark Kent, who is establishing himself as a reporter with the Daily Planet. They've also said that they don't want to go too young. They want to go basically, and the way I heard it described, I don't know if it was Jeremy that said this or not, but like Superman year one. He's been Superman for a little while, but he's still coming into his own as a hero and as a reporter, as Clark Kent and as Superman, which I like the idea of doing that. As far as who could do it, there's a couple different ways you could go here. I mean, for one, do you want to go look? Henry Cavill fits the mold because A, he got ripped, and B, because he's got kind of the facial structure of Superman. I know it sounds weird for me to say that, but Superman. It's like, I feel like anybody can play Batman. I feel like any woman who's in pretty good shape and knows how to throw hands can play Wonder Woman. But Superman's got kind of a general look that if you don't nail that look, people won't really take him seriously. And Cavill's got it. Chiseled jaw. I mean, yeah, he's cut and ripped, but he's got those bold facial features that you expect in Superman. The chin thing, the chin butt, that kind of thing. He's got all these things. I mean, I could do without the curly Q hanging down from the brow. I could do without that. That's okay. I always
don't knock it. That's one of my favorite things.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not something that jumps out at me when I think Superman. Yes, I know Christopher Reeves had it, and I know it's been kind of a staple of Superman for a long, long time. But I mean, I could do without it. But you got to try to find someone that is going to fit that look. There's a couple of actors I think that can potentially do it. No,
definitely not. No. Definitely not.
One of them is DeCray Montgomery, the guy that played Billy in Stranger Things. He's only, what's he going to be? He's 28 years old, which is right in the butter zone for where they want to be in age. He's got experience on a couple of big projects, so he's not going to be a deer in the headlights. He's done Stranger
blue eyes.
He did a couple of years of Stranger Things, so he's not a stranger to the big productions. He also was in the Power Rangers movie in 2017. Again, I'm not a big fan of the Power Rangers, but most of that movie I thought was pretty good. Third act loses me a little bit, but that was a way more entertaining movie than I thought it was going to be, and I thought he was good in it. And he's got a bit of the look. I don't know about the blonde in his hair. I mean, Superman's always got the dark hair.
Well, hair dye can take care of that.
Nothing some hair dye or a wig can't fix, but part of me also thinks I don't want to fuck with his look that much. I don't think it would be terrible to see his darker blonde hair, but he's one that I think would be interesting. Also, he's already one of the people, and this would be a big coup for DC. He's one of the people that is big on the fan casting circuit for Human Torch in the Fantastic Four. He's the name that gets thrown out there a lot. So if he is actually in talks to be in that, and DC can go kind of snatch him up from Marvel real quick, that'd be a pretty interesting. That'd be a pretty big W for W to get started with. Another one that I think is kind of interesting. I don't know that facial wise he fits. He's a little too scrawny for me though. Is Taron Egerton? He's actually really, really good. I really love him as an actor.
I thought about him. I thought about him. Yeah.
The big blockbuster stuff he can do. I mean, he did the Elton John thing. He's done the Kingsman movies. I mean, he's acted across from big people like Hugh Jackman and stuff like that. So he can handle his own. My problem is I don't think he's got quite the physique.
He's more likely to be James Bond than Superman.
Well, that and he's short because I looked him up too. I think he's like 5'7" or something. That's the main reason why I did not put him on my list, was because he doesn't. I mean, muscles you can build, but you can't get height. You can't cheat that.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people have thrown his name around about potentially playing Wolverine in the MCU, because he's got the acting chops and he kind of fits that build of the more classic Wolverine look that Hugh Jackman did. But the other one, honestly, my favorite right now that I've heard people mention is Glenn Powell, the guy from Top Gun, the guy that played in Top Gun Maverick. He was Hangman in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
To me, again, the hair color's a little light, but A, you can always dye his hair and put a wig on him.
He has the voice and the presence to be Superman.
He looks like a superhero. I'm really eager to see Devotion. I've heard that movie is very, very good, but and I've heard he's very good in it. But to me, right now, just if I stand these guys up next to each other, and I look at them and say, who can I see the cape and the S on? If I in my mind's eye I put him on there, who looks like Superman, who feels like Superman, that's the guy that jumps out at me. And like I said, he was on Top Gun Maverick. If there was a movie that was ever scrutinized like a motherfucker for a matter of years before it ever hit theaters, it was Top Gun Maverick. He acted across from guys like John Hamm, Tom Cruise. I don't know how many scenes he had with him, but he like Ed Harris. It's like this movie was loaded with a lot of guys who were seriously heavy hitters in Hollywood, and the guy held his own. I mean, he went. Look, him and Miles Teller. I mean, I got the vibes from that. This is one of the great things about Top Gun Maverick. I got the same vibes from that little like conflict on that movie that I got from Iceman and Maverick in the original Top Gun. Like I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that density between them as much as I did the original movie. I think he could do it. So Glenn Powell is kind of my leader in the clubhouse right now. Other names could come up. I mean, Austin Butler is a guy whose name I've seen. He's going to be in Dune Part 2, which they're I think they just finished principal photography on that. I haven't seen him in the Elvis movie yet. I've heard he was good. Chase Stokes is another one, but he's I don't know. But honestly, and another name I'll throw out there because we talk about guys who are super fans. He is a super fan, and even James Gunn and Peter Safran have said they may not stop a Superman movie happening with him. Is Michael B. Jordan? I mean, you look. That guy looks.
God, no.
He is a Superman absolute super nut. he really badly wants to do.
As long as it's not Clark Kent. If it's the Val Zod, I'm fine with it, but not Clark Kent.
I think it was the Val Zod storyline that he wants to do. But look, he's look, physique, he's got it. I mean, have you seen Creed? I mean,
no, you can't argue the physique, but
or Black Panther or whatever. But I mean, I could see him doing it. Again, it would depend a little bit on the storyline, but I would like to see him do it. Because for one, he's an amazing actor. I mean, I have not seen that. He's been in movies that aren't fantastic, but he in all these movies is amazing. This guy is absolutely talented, and he's a super fan, so he's going to approach this with a passion that a lot of actors won't be able to. I'll throw that out there. But I mean, those are the ones I got right now. If I had to cast this thing with the names that I've got rolling around in my head, the ones that I've looked at, Glenn Powell is kind of my leader right now. The guy that I would put in the cape moving forward to DCEU. I'll go to you next, Cora. What are some of the guys that you think could fill in for Henry Cavill now that he's stepping away?
Henry Cavill's twin, Henry Cavill's cousin, Henry Cavill's little brother. And any lookalikes that nobody's ever seen in any acting field that I don't know. Honestly, I just can't right now.
Well,
so we know where Cora's at on this.
I just can't. Honestly, I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, and I see these, these actors, but I think like James Bond, they're going to have to just find somebody that has their own version of Superman that fans will be drawn to and just think of as a different iteration of Superman, to the point where it's not better or worse in comparative to Cavill. It'll just be a different Superman. And I think it's not so much about a look. I think it's about persona and stage presence and physique, like you said. And I just think it's going to be a surprise. And I think people are going to love it or hate it, like the Daniel Craig thing. And I think it's going to be someone way out of left field that nobody expects.
Well, and to your point, James Gunn has even said, he was like, yeah, there's lots of names that we're looking at of people that are currently out there, but they're not against finding somebody who doesn't have a big name in Hollywood, going out and doing like a cattle call and finding a brand new, fresh face to build Superman around, to build their version of Superman around. So that is a possibility. I mean, I don't think they will, but I mean, right now, I'd say there's probably about a 30-35% chance that they do exactly that. So you might be onto something there, because they have said that that's a possibility. I don't know. Tex, what do you think? What are some of the names that you got?
Well, I've been thinking about this for the last week, and I've ran through a few names, but I've got it whittled down to 4 names. And oddly enough, Frank, you and I have one name that is on both of our lists, and I'll get to it in a minute. And I know we're going for like a year one Superman, but I didn't limit myself to people just like 28 to 35. If they were a little older but looked younger, I still considered them. And the first name I came up with is Finn Wittrock. And if you ever saw the American Horror Story franchise, he kind of plays a villain most times, but he's dark hair. He's kind of got the piercing eyes, kind of that stern look. He could go Batman or Superman for me. But this dude needs to be in a comic book film. When you look at him, just Google him if y'all are at home. Imagine either the black Superboy shirt with the red S or just a Superman T-shirt. I think Finn Wittrock can pull off this role because he's been in big stuff. He's a name, but he's not a big name. He can carry the project. But I think this dude could fulfill a role because he's a solid actor.
Now, I like that name, mostly because it reminds me a lot of who's the other guy? It was American Horror Story Hotel, the reporter, policeman, detective guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That guy.
Crap.
He was actually one of the people that was in final talks to be Batman.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And Finn Wittrock reminds me a lot of him. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Finn, if you want to see how good of an actor he is, go watch the American Horror Story season where it's the carnival season. I can't remember which one, like 4 or 5. I can't remember. But he plays like a nasty villain in that season. This dude can act his butt off. He is a solid pick.
Yeah, I love that name. I love that name.
Now, my third pick that I actually put above him, he's technically been in the CW DC verse before. He played Firestorm, but that is Robbie Amell. It's Casey Amel's brother who played Green Arrow, but he's darker haired. He looks like Superboy. He looks like a young Superman. He's early 30s. He's done action. He's done bigger projects. But he's another dude that he already has the build. I mean, there's pictures of him as Superman on Google right now. The dude can fill the spot. Now, acting-wise, I don't think he's a better actor than Finn Wittrock is, but looks-wise, I would pick him over Finn Wittrock to play the role of a young Man of Steel because the dude looks like the part. I think he could pull it off real well.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of was Wes Bentley. I don't know why I drew a blank on his name.
But, okay. I was thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, Wes Bentley was one of the people that was actually in the hunt to, or in discussions to play Batman before Ben Affleck signed on. I like Wes Bentley. I think Wes Bentley's. I would even throw his
Wes
name
Bentley. I don't see him as a Superman, but I could see a Batman in that role. But
he's definitely a bit darker.
I think Robbie Amell could pull off a Superman, could pull off a young Superman because he's a younger guy. But, I mean, he's like 32 or 33, but he looks late 20s. Like, even Finn Wittrock is like 38, but he looks like he's like 32. So, I mean, and of course you can, make him look younger, older, whatever we need to do here. So I didn't really limit myself as much as age with either of those picks. Now, my number 2 pick, we're going to need hair dye for this guy, but I think this might be the best one out of the crop. And that's Clint Eastwood's son, Scott Eastwood. I think that when you look at Scott Eastwood, I mean, technically he was in the Snyderverse. He played a soldier in a Suicide Squad that gets killed off. Yeah, he gets killed off technically. So he's been in the DC world before, but he's a name. I mean, look, Superman is, truth, justice, in the American way. Who better than Clint Eastwood's son? I mean, who would not accept him as the Man of Steel?
Yeah, you're getting a pretty good pedigree.
That's what I'm saying. He's got the acting chops. He's got the look. He can fill the role, and he's a big enough name that it's not, he's going to be accepted. Obviously, whoever comes behind Cavill, I even said myself, is going to look at negatively, but I think eventually people would warm up to a Scott Eastwood. And
get this. I'll add on to that for just a second. Clint Eastwood cameo as Jonathan Kent.
That'd be great. That's perfect.
I mean, because you can rewrite the origin. Maybe Jonathan Kent doesn't die.
Yes, please. Yeah, give me Clint Eastwood in a Superman film. He's on a farm in Kansas. Clint Eastwood wearing his flannel shirt next to his barn. Who's not going to love that? That writes itself. And then the last name I came up with was one that you said was Austin Butler. I mean, he's already in the Warner Brothers stable. They just came out with Elvis. Some people liked the movie, some didn't, but it was a hit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the guy, he's already got the, obviously he can pull off the black hair. He's got the curly cues that Cora needs over here. And, anybody can build muscle. Look at Hugh Jackman when he's not Wolverine. He's as tiny as anybody else is. So we can get this guy bulked up if we need to. But I think if you gave me an Austin Butler, a Scott Eastwood, a Robbie Amell, or a Finn Wittrock, I would be happy with that. I would go Eastwood 1, and then the rest you can do with whatever. But I really think Scott Eastwood is the guy to be the Man of Steel going forward. He's early 30s. He's got the name. He's got the look. I think that's your Superman. And if he's Superman, I'll take Finn Wittrock as Batman. So I've got your 2 roles filled right there, James Gunn.
Listen to us, James Gunn. I think we're onto something. I think Tex came out with a really good name.
Hey, James Gunn, I did homework on this, dude. You owe me a paycheck, all right? So you can just go ahead and PayPal me that money anytime you want to. So let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of interesting names. I mean, look. It could be none of those. And like brought up, they could decide to go a whole different route and cast a relative unknown, somebody who's acting acting resume consists of a couple of commercials or playing a dead body on CSI, something like that. So, or maybe they go really unknown. Just go find some theater actor who's never done a big Hollywood production. Just say, hey, you're the next Man of Steel. Look, whoever it is, it's not just being a good Superman. It's trying to find a way to fill the shoes of Henry Cavill. So it's not just going to be someone who looks like Superman, who has any kind of understanding of the mythology. It's someone who understands that you're fighting a pretty big ghost here, and you're going to, for the most part, you're going to lose, but you have to be able to let that go off your back and just kind of like give your best performance, understand what James Gunn wants to do with this iteration of the character, and can help bring that to life. Because if you can do that and not let the trolls on the internet, who are all big Henry Cavill and Snyder sycophants, kind of just beat the shit out of you, and just concentrate on making a good character and a good movie, I think ultimately it'll be good. But that's going to be something else. There's going to have to be a certain mental makeup of whatever actor they find that's going to be able to roll up against that kind of pressure and not wilt under it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's the thing. And I mean, when you look back at Henry Cavill as Superman, I would argue his best scenes are as Clark Kent, not Superman. When you go back and watch Man of Steel, whenever he's just in the Kansas City Royals t-shirt, when he's standing there in front of a American flag painted on an old brick building there in Smallville. That's some of the best stuff of the movie. Obviously, the stuff in the suit is cool, but like the scene where, Kevin Costner's saving people from a tornado, and, Cavill could go, or Clark could go save his father, but he would out himself in front of everyone. This is the kind of heart-pulling stuff that that I'm talking about here. And, Superman's not Batman. He's, Superman is, the suit is really, you don't have to have the suit to have Superman. Obviously, that's part of the character, but the man makes up Superman, not the S.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scenes with his mother are really moving.
Yeah. Right. I mean, when Zod comes down and, he lands on the Kent farm and Superman comes flying in, what did you do to my mother? Like those scenes, you can feel the raw passion there. He's not the Man of Steel there. He's Clark Kent. He's just wearing the red cape at the time. You know what I mean? The movies are
better with the family angle than the romance angle.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give 2 shits about the Lois Lane stuff. The family stuff really just.
I mean, yeah. And I know it's controversial, but whenever Superman has to snap Zod's neck, which I don't see what the big deal is. The Avengers have killed millions in New York fighting everybody, but Superman snaps one guy's neck and everybody freaks out. Calm down, people.
Batman kills one guy and they're like, oh no, Batman kills him.
He kills one guy and freaks out. But, where he drops to his knees and he's hugging Lois around the waist, because he's emotionally broke down because he didn't want to do what he did. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that makes everybody appreciate Henry Cavill. And, it's not because of a certain look or a muscle size. It's everything that he brought to the role. So good luck to whoever it is. You're going to need it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an ongoing debate for quite some time. Now, apparently this meeting did happen between James Gunn and Peter Safran and the brass at Warner Brothers. They did say, I think we talked about this last week, that sometime early in the new year, they're going to start publicly releasing details about the direction that they're going to be taking the MCU. They have made very, very clear that Superman is going to be a cornerstone of what they're doing. I personally think that James Gunn is probably going to direct the first DC film, whatever it may be, whether it be Superman or Batman. I think he'll probably be directing that film to try to make sure that starts off on exactly the footing that he wants to start off on. Other people will come in, and there's a lot of great directors that Warner Brothers already has. I mean, they've obviously, we talked last week, they want Ben Affleck to come back and direct something, possibly a Batman movie. There's rumors that they're trying to rework his script that from what I've heard, everybody thought was absolutely amazing, to try to fit into what they want to do moving forward. So it's possible he's directing that. They have Andy Muschietti, who did The Flash. He's already kind of in-house. I think for Warner Brothers, he did the It movies. I think those were Warner Brothers movies, right?
He did, yeah.
I mean, so you've already got another great director like Andy Muschietti that's already kind of in house. Somebody you can go back to and maybe let him do something else. If you want to reboot the Flash, maybe you could let him come back and do another Flash movie, kind of in the way that he wants to do it, instead of having to deal with whatever version of the Flash he got that pre-existed before the Ezra Miller stuff. I mean, yeah, so there's plenty of directors you get. Maybe, Patty Jenkins is still good. Maybe they come to an agreement on what they want to do with Wonder Woman moving forward. They work with her to develop a new direction for Wonder Woman that exists in this version of the DC universe. There's a lot of potential coming up for DC. I think it's going to be interesting, though. I honestly, my guess, when's Comic-Con? Comic-Con is in July.
Yeah, it's July.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say we have casting at Comic-Con.
You think we're going to have a new Superman by July?
I don't think they just announce it. I think they walked whoever it is out on stage.
I think you're right.
Because if you think about it, I mean, because like we talk every year around Comic-Con, who wins Comic-Con is the thing. And last year, Disney was almost about to give them the win because they were like, we have D23 coming up in a couple of months. We're going to do all of our stuff there. We're going to drop all of our bombs there. And they didn't really drop a whole lot of bombs. But they were just like, we'll just let them do it. And the DC didn't come out with anything.
Well, hang on, wait a minute. Let's see. Okay, DC's got Flash, Aquaman 2, Blue Beetle, and what's the fourth? Shazam 2.
Shazam.
Will all four of those be out by Comic-Con?
I think all but one of them, maybe. I don't know.
So, would they announce a new universe before they end the current one, though? That's my only question.
Oh yeah, I would imagine they're going to start giving us at least the blueprints for their first 3 or 4 movies at some point before March. I would imagine that by the time spring rolls around, they're going to give us, if they don't have some kind of full-fledged announcement of this is our phase 1 or whatever. If they don't give us anything like that, let me try to look at the release calendar real quick. Because I'm wondering what comes up between now and Comic-Con. Because I would imagine by Comic-Con, all the stuff from the old DC administration is going to be out.
Oh, you would think so. Well, I mean, that's assuming. I mean, from the way it sounds right now, Superman will be the initial start of the new DCU, which is the smart move because he was their first big character.
Let's see here. We've got.
That would work.
Devil, 3 minutes. I'm just looking for the DC stuff here.
Yeah.
February.
Because if all 4 films for DC are out.
Well, Shazam comes out in March.
Okay.
Let's see. Keep going. April, May. Oh, I'm sorry, April. May. Ooh, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, we have to remember San Diego Comic-Con.
The Flash comes out in June.
Okay.
So by the time we get there, only the Flash and Shazam is going to be out. I think Aquaman doesn't come out till next fall. I think we have another year till Aquaman.
Okay. Well, see, if I were Gunn, I wouldn't announce, here's our new Superman while we've still got old DC movies to put out.
Yeah, I don't think that matters.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think he's worried about that. And I don't think he should, to be perfectly honest. I mean, because if all these things are just being released so that they don't have to take another $800 million tax write-down, if you're only releasing them to try to make a few bucks off them so you don't take as big a loss, it doesn't really matter. The question is, I mean, look, Flash was supposed to be a big-time direction changer. And we just found out in the last couple of weeks that the cameos that Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill shot have all been cut from the movie. Because we talked, a week or two ago, that one of the things that came out in that press release is that the Flash movie was not finished. They were not calling it a finished cut. that it was still very much.
It wasn't locked yet, or whatever.
It wasn't locked.
Yeah.
So now we found out in the last week or so that all the cameos that were in it have been cut. So they're trying to cut ties to all that. They're smart. They're very wisely not trying to promise things that they know that they're not going to deliver on. So you may as well just cut all this shit out. So I don't think they really care. I think they're going to release what they've got. They're going to make whatever money they can make off of it. They might even try to use it to see if any part of the Snyderverse of films is going to be worth saving. I don't think they should. I think if you're going to do
if they can't open that can of worms, because just like Campy has said, if you keep Zachary Levi as Shazam, but you say goodbye to Henry Cavill as Superman, you're going to upset so many people. They have to hard reboot. Yeah. There's no other answer.
Yeah, I don't think there's a choice either. But
there's not.
Anyway, I want to know what you guys think. So go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think. Who do you think could step in and play Kal-El, the last son of Krypton? Who could step up and play Superman? Give us some of your ideas down below in the description. And that's going to be a good place to wrap it up for us tonight. I want to thank my great co-host for coming around and being kick-ass just like always. Again, we wish Jeremy the very best. He's a little under the weather today. We're looking forward to having him back next week. And until then, the Dowager Countess, Lady Cora, what have you got going on?
Shoveling snow. Hiding inside.
But I thought you were on some beach somewhere doing whatever.
Right. I thought it was so warm you were outside in your flip-flops. Come on, man.
I'm already back home. It was I drove home on the way while we were doing the show. I'm making Mexican food for Christmas, and I'm excited about it. That's what I'll be doing.
Now, I told you, we were talking earlier, when me, you, and Drew were texting, that I usually do Mexican food for Christmas. So since you're obviously stealing it from me, I want a nickel for every enchilada you eat, okay? I mean, we're suing over movie trailers. I mean, do we really need to go to court over this, Cora? Come on. I don't want to have to sue you.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying, and technically I stole it from my friend Gloria. She's doing it, and I told her how frustrated I was because all the food was gone in town. It doesn't matter why. It's just, anyways. And I was like, I don't know what to cook. And she's like, well, I'm doing Mexican. I'm like, I'm doing that. So technically I stole it from her.
I'm taking you both to court because that's been a tradition in my house for like 20 years. So you people ain't the first ones to do it.
Everybody do Mexican for Christmas and I don't know it? Like, is this a thing?
Well, I thought it was just a Texas thing, you know, being down here in the land of Mexican food, but I don't know. So I don't know what you Yankees do. So I don't know.
Real quick,
we're not Yankees.
Real quick, I do want to send a shout out to Derek, who just dropped a $10 tip on us. We very much appreciate you supporting the channel. He brings up a name. He says, I think someone who would have the Superman look would be Matt Bomer. That's not a bad name.
He's voiced Superman before.
Yeah, he's probably pushing 40 though, isn't he?
He's older. Yeah,
they want.
I looked at him, and the two reasons why I eliminated him was age, and he's already voiced the character in some of those live-action animated films, or not live-action, I'm an idiot. Some of those animated films that DC puts out, he has voiced the Superman character before. So that's the only reasons I eliminated him. But if we're going for an older Superman, I think he could work too. That's another solid pick. Based on just the look, I kind of like it. But again, I do think he's about 5 years too old for what they want to do. Especially if they want to do a guy who's 25 to 28, or at least can play 25 to 28, just getting kind of coming into into himself as a superhero. You probably wouldn't be able to do that in his 40s. How old is Matt Bomer? I want to look and find out. I know he's right around 40, if I had to guess. Let me pull up good old Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is never wrong. Oh, he's 45. God, he's my age. He's 45. Oh, wow. He looked good for 45.
Hey, I wished I looked that good at his age. Jesus Christ. He's about a year. Well, he's only about 8 months older than I am. I'm sorry. He's a year and 3 months older than or younger than I am, rather. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, I'm 46. He's 45. He looks awful good for 45. But that's I like the look. He does have the Superman look. He's got a Clark Kent thing. He's got the jaw, the chin. He's definitely fit. But
I love the show White Collar. He was fantastic in it.
I watched a little bit of White Collar. I didn't watch a lot. It was kind of a comedy adventure, not adventure, but like a legal comedy kind of thing. But it wasn't bad. I liked it. He was one of the hockey players in Miracle, the hockey movie that just came out about the Miracle on Ice. He was
the only thing I've seen him in, besides the animated DC Superman film, was he was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning. He played a guy that was going to Vietnam with his brother, and they get caught along the way, and he ends up getting his face worn by Leatherface. So if you want to see that, you can go watch that too. So
yes,
it's always fun. So.
Yeah, he's had the honor of being on Leatherface's face.
He's been the face of Leatherface, you know.
If I had to get hacked by anybody, I want to be Leatherface. So I could say, hey, see that fold of skin right there? That used to be my ass. Thanks, Leatherface. Now I can say I've arrived. But on that note, I want to thank our good friend Tex for coming to hang out. What do you got going on these days?
Oh, not much. I'll be whooping Frank this weekend in fantasy football. You can find me here on Thursdays. Well,
by the way.
Well,
Rose was talking about that on his show, and he was talking about how great you did last week.
The term is biblical beatdown is what I gave Casey last week. And, Frank, I'm delivering one for you for Christmas, so get prepared for it because it's coming this week.
Worried. I'm not worried. Like I said, you might be my competitor, but you're not real competition. I'm not worried about it.
Well, I look and as I said, I look forward to your congratulations when I'm the Derailed League champion. So just go ahead and prepare your speech. But no, Thursdays you'll find me here, and that's about it. So I'm really looking forward to whooping Frank this week. So I'm putting all my focus and attention on that. So it's going to work out fine.
I'm not worried. Actually, I already have some points.
Yeah, because one of your players played.
Yeah.
There's a game right now
going tonight. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not getting what I want out of Christian Kirk, but that's all right. I'm not worried.
There you go. Whenever Josh Allen puts 40 on you too, you're going to be crying. I can't wait. So it's going to be sweet.
As long as I didn't lose to Deity, he's the one that talks the most shit in our league. So as long as I don't, honestly, I was thinking about it the other night. Deity's been awfully quiet this year, probably because I kind of ran away with our division pretty early this year. I think it made it to about week 6 or 7, and then I kind of started to pull away. So he wasn't really in the running. But
the playoffs did work out because you and I, and Drew and TSS were the best 4 teams all season. I mean, we were competitive the whole way through. So the cream did rise to the top. So I'm looking forward to see how it all shakes out in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be fun. Yeah, so may the best man win.
So one of us is going to be very disappointed the next time you see us.
Yes.
And Tex, I want to
the next time. the next time you see us, Frank is going to look sad. His eyes might be puffy where he's been crying because I put a biblical beat down.
I'm the defending champ. I got nothing to worry about. I got to let one of you guys win every now and then to keep it fair. So I did win our league last year, so it's not like I've never tasted success. A dynasty doesn't win every year; they just win a lot of years. So my dynasty started last year when I won the first.
To be fair, out of all the derailed guys, you and I have both won. You and I have won the last 2 podcast bedlams. Let's not forget that. So if anybody's the winners of this little group that we have, they've got 2 of them right here. So, I just, Drew and TSS, whoever wins this game, I think we might be taking the championship. So
and I think you and I pretty much ran the league this year anyway, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I went.
Dude, the first 6 weeks, I was scoring like 120 to 160 points a game. I mean, it was lights out, dude. So. Yeah. No way.
Well, some of this is counting last week's playoffs too. So
what does it matter? Casey's going to win the whole thing.
Casey's
I
already
just eliminated Casey. What are you talking about, Cora? I just eliminated.
He'll find a way to win. He'll find a way to win in the end. He'll somehow come back.
Well, see, that's the thing. Casey didn't get sick till I beat him by 50 points, and then so he didn't get made fun of. Oh, I'm sick. Don't make fun of me because he knew what was coming. So I even brought that up to him last time.
He beat Casey so bad, Casey got COVID to feel better. That's how
Tex gave me COVID. Tex, he went in the DM group and said Tex gave me COVID and provided some bullcrap test he got off Google or something, so to get sympathies and whatnot. So it's ridiculous.
All I know is that there's gonna be plenty of shit talking going on over the course of the next few days, and Gotta hope I can't wait. Way. But like I said, I'm the defending champ. So I mean, look, hey, I can't win them all. So I'm not. And I finished with the best record in the league this year. So
hey, I will say, may the best man win. And if you beat me fair and square, I'll take my lickings. It is what it is. But when I'm holding that championship, I expect to be coronated appropriately. That's all I'm saying.
Boy. I can tell you that right now I do need a little bit. I am definitely needing a big fourth quarter from Jacksonville. That would definitely help my cause a little bit. So go Jags for the rest of the night. That's all I'm saying.
If they were playing the Cowboys, you'd probably get that big fourth quarter because our quarterback likes to turn it over in the end zone. But hey,
he likes to throw a lot of touchdown passes to the other team.
He likes, if touchdowns only counted the other way, he'd be the best quarterback of all time. That's beside the point.
Yeah, and on a football note, real quick, rest in peace, Franco Harris. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I saw that, dude. That's surprising. I was like, holy! He's not that old.
One of the he was only 71. I don't recall if he was ill or not. If he had some kind of a sickness or
I don't remember seeing one.
But I mean, good God, it's not like the guy was in bad shape. I mean, I've seen pictures of him over the last couple of years, and yeah, he wasn't exactly in game shape anymore. But he didn't look unhealthy either. So, I mean, I don't know if it was something sudden or what. But yeah, rest in peace to Franco Harris, the Steelers legend, the recipient of the Immaculate Reception. For those of you who know that play, that is one of the craziest, wildest, and probably most interesting and most talked about plays in the history of professional football, at least, if not professional sports. So rest in peace to Franco Harris, the Hall of Famer for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very, very sad. There's been a lot of deaths lately, too. I mean, I've been trying not to talk about him so much, but I mean, yeah, people are dying at a pretty record clip this year still in the entertainment industry. So.
There for a while, we were the In Memoriam podcast because everybody was dying. That's all we talked about. We were starting
every show with somebody dying. I kind of was just like, could somebody not die for a week so I can just talk about the fun stuff? Can you guys just last for 7 more days? That's all I want.
Right.
But yeah, anyway. As for me, you can find me here every Thursday going over all the stuff that's going on in the world of television streaming movies. You will find me here again next week. There will probably be, I'm guessing there's going to be a Christmas night stream. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I would imagine I'm going to be home Christmas night, probably about usually the time that I would start a stream anyway. And since I won't be at work, obviously, it'll be Christmas night. I'll be done with all the Christmas festivities. I may jump on the computer and go live and do a little something. So, Keep an eye out for something that might be happening Christmas night. Maybe some all bad cards. I haven't decided yet.
I should be free Christmas night if you want to do something. I don't have anything planned.
If nothing else, maybe I'll just get together and do like a bullshit hangout. I'll pour some drinks and we'll find some news stories to talk about and bullshit. We'll kind of maybe make it a junior derailed podcast, sort of, and just kind of we'll go on for a couple hours, just have a lot of fun. So join us next week. Next week is going to be probably a couple of news stories, and then we're going to be talking about our favorite movies of the year 2022. So it's going to be a bit of a rewind for the last 12 months, talking about some of the things that we liked about movies in 2022, some of the things we didn't like about movies in 2022. And the week after that, obviously, is going to be the first stream of 2023. That's predominantly going to be about the movies coming over the course of the next 12 months. We're going to be talking to you guys about some of the things that we're looking forward to in the world of entertainment 2023. So come and hang out for that as well. Again, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I hate to e-beg you guys for things like that, but I really do want to grow the channel, and it's all going to come down to you guys. It's all going to be on your guys' back. Everything is all about you guys. I love the fact that you guys are all here. Derek Rose has been in here. TSS. Was Casey in here earlier? I don't remember. Oh, usually he's in here. Foxtrot, thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate it. Mikkel was in here earlier. We had some troll on Twitch actually chime in, offering to promote my channel. He can kiss my ass. Let's see. Cora was in the chat as well. Yeah, I saw that, and I wanted to make an ass out of him, but I was like, no, I'm just not going to give that any attention. But thanks to all you guys for coming to hang out. We very much appreciate it, and we'll see you guys later on. Adios. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
See y'all later.
Bye.